What is going on, guys? My name is Emo. Hey, before we get started out with a Smackdown review, I want to let you know I've gone back to some vintage WWE games. You may be seeing them there in the description down below. Please go check them out. I've appreciated the support so far. It's been amazing. Let's jump right in because it is huge. Right there. The new #1 contender for SmackDown Live's title. Now, I've said for the past week that Jinder Mahal is going to be destined for big things. I tweeted out if Jinder didn't lose, that if Jinder lost, I wouldn't watch next week. And he won. And let me tell you a little bit about this, because I know a lot of people are really pissed off right now. A lot of people are upset. They don't understand how a jobber can go from jobbing out to everybody to eventually becoming the #1 contender. That they're losing their mind on the fact that Jinder Mahal is #1 contender. And I would agree with you if Jinder was a jobber that him winning would make no sense whatsoever. But did Jinder Mahal win by himself? And the answer was no. I said last year that if you put Jinder Mahal with the Bollywood Boys, if you had a stable, that could definitely do something. But at the same time, I still believe out of nowhere WWE is going to pull a huge swerve where Randy versus Bray, which was for the title all the way up until tonight, and then tonight it was removed from Wikipedia. Bray versus Randy was removed from a bunch of other sports websites as being for the title, so I don't know if WWE changed their plans, if it was never meant for the title, but WWE's official website, along with CBS Sports, ESPN, and some others, had it listed for the championship. So I said, you know, we haven't seen Brock since the Superstar Shakeup, so it'd be a huge thing for Bray Wyatt to win the title, bring it over to Raw, and then SmackDown would get Brock Lesnar. So the fact that tonight, I said, whoever wins, it doesn't matter because they're going to end up getting squashed by Brock Lesnar, would make the most sense because a lot of people are saying Sammy should have won. He deserved it. Dolph Ziggler deserved it. Should have won. Here's the thing. WWE and wrestling is fake. It doesn't matter who deserves what. It's what's going to produce the best show. So if Jinder the Jobber wins, something is obviously planned where, you know, if somebody else like Sami Zayn would have won and Sami Zayn would have won only to lose his first pay-per-view, look what happened. I mean, AJ Styles lost at WrestleMania. You guys love AJ Styles. He's the face that runs the place. He was the champ that ran the camp on SD Live. But when he lost to Chris Jericho at WrestleMania, and then the very next night he won #1 contendership and faced Roman Reigns, everybody had a problem with it. How could he be challenging for the title? He just lost. So even a guy like AJ Styles' pedigree last year got some complaints for the fact that he was facing Roman Reigns, because for the most part you knew what was going to happen and that Roman Reigns was pretty much going to beat him. So I want to say this. I think that if Jinder Mahal won, there is either big things in store for Jinder, and I want to make that very clear that if you're Jinder Mahal and you've done all this work, whether people are saying he's juicing, he's on something, I don't really give a crap. Jinder Mahal went from what he was doing before in the WWE, 3MB, and now he looks like an absolute beast. And especially with the Bollywood Boys as a stable, it definitely brings something different to the WWE that we haven't had in a while. The other thing you have to keep in mind is that India is a huge market for the WWE, and Jinder Mahal getting an opportunity is not the worst thing in the world. As you see SmackDown behind me, I got to make sure I hit the pause button. Every once in a while, we get hit that pause button to make sure that doesn't happen. So Jinder Mahal is your #1 contender. And a lot of people said Luke Harper deserved it and everybody else deserved it. I'm just going to say this, guys. Whoever's champion, they're probably not going to win their first go-around anyway. So the fact that we're getting super upset about the fact that Jinder Mahal is #1 contender, I saw a lot of prominent people in the wrestling community say that they're done with SmackDown. They're done with WWE because Jinder Mahal won. Like, here's the thing. I hear everybody complaining about how people are jobbers all the time and they deserve a push. But when a jobber finally wins, it's... yeah. Like, at what point does a jobber finally do something? And a lot of the response was, well, he could have won the U.S. title first, and then he could have won the Intercontinental title. No, like, the fact that Jinder won, I said was going to happen a week ago. I said Jinder Mahal was headed to big things on SmackDown. There was a reason they made the big spots with Jinder. Now, here's the thing. I still think Jinder's probably going to get squashed. They teased Randy Orton tonight in the segment. With Randy Orton coming out, I still think that it would be huge if we got a huge swerve where Bray Wyatt won the title. Now, a lot of people are holding on to the fact that, but Tubby, it's the Universal Championship, and it's the WWE World title. It's red. It cannot possibly be on SmackDown. The Universal title's red, Tubby. Oh my God, it's like they couldn't just swap the leather out on the championship belt. I mean, like, it'd be so hard to swap colors of leather. Like that was some legitimate people's response tonight when I said that. But the championship is red. It's the Raw Universal Championship. The United States Championship was a Raw title up until 2 weeks ago. The Intercontinental Championship was a SmackDown title 2 weeks ago. Does the leather really matter? I mean, come on, guys. Seriously. Like, I love WWE and I love the WWE fans, but it just pisses me off when every little thing is getting nitpicked to the point where you're just losing your mind and getting upset at this. Like, I get that if you're mad that Jinder Mahal won, but if you're saying you're done with WWE because Jinder Mahal won, I don't get it. That is just me personally. I wanted to get that out of the way now. So let's go through the show. So the show started with Charlotte Banks. Now, David Lagana, former of Impact Wrestling, pointed this out, that Charlotte's Titantron maybe should get revamped because it actually says the C on the side and the TTE on the other side hidden, or the TE hidden. So it says Harlot, which is kind of a weird thing. She comes out and basically, pronounces her pedigree and says, listen, I'm a 4-time Raw champion, that I deserve a SmackDown opportunity. And Naomi comes out because a fighting champion, this is why I think it's fine and it makes sense, is because when you're a fighting champion and you're a face and you're a good guy, you want to defend the title and you're openly willing to put it up and face off. Now, they had a little scramble. Shane McMahon came out and said, yeah, that's fine, Charlotte, but here's the thing. This is SmackDown. This is the land of opportunity. You've got to earn your opportunity. So, yeah, you can compete for the title, Charlotte. That's fine, if you win tonight. And then they teased backstage Natalya. They teased Tamina. They teamed Carmella, which I have to be honest, I loved Carmella's segment. And I loved James Ellsworth. I don't know why. There's just something I really dig about him. And they basically teased it to everybody who's like, well, I think they're going to interfere. They're going to get a DQ or they've got a plan. And Talia's talking about it. And when you think about that, it would make more sense for them to interfere next week to prevent Charlotte from getting the title, to maybe distract for somebody else to challenge Naomi for the title. But again, this is the same thing with Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman that people are complaining about. You have to keep in mind that Braun Strowman is going up against a former 3-time world champion as Roman Reigns. Nobody would be surprised back in the day if Hulk Hogan beat, an up-and-comer. Like, you wouldn't be surprised. You wouldn't go to the internet and complain about it because it's freaking Hulk Hogan. Roman Reigns is not a good comparison because everybody hates Roman, but at the same aspect, he's a 3-time former WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He's beat Triple H. He's competed on the grandest stage of them all against guys like Brock Lesnar, and he beat The Undertaker. So that's something to keep in mind, that if Braun doesn't beat him, like everybody's saying Braun, if he loses, he's going to just whatever. You have to keep the same thing in mind with Charlotte and Naomi. Like, she's a former 4-time champion. That's a big deal. So to be facing Naomi right away, that's a huge win for Naomi. Like, Naomi won the championship. She had to drop the title because of the fact of her injury, and it got more fans behind her than it actually did when she won the title. Having to give it up got her more fans. So the fact that they teased them interfering later on in the night was kind of a big deal. Then we had the 6-pack challenge where Jinder Mahal finally won, and it was a pretty awesome match. I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of great spots between Dolph Ziggler, Eric Rowan, Luke Harper, Mojo Rawley, Jinder Mahal, and Sami Zayn. Again, last week, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, and AJ Styles faced off in a #1 contendership for Kevin Owens' title, which was the main event tonight. And Sami Zayn was the one who lost because he hit the big kick on Baron Corbin and would get hit by the phenomenal forearm with AJ Styles. So automatically losing that, he was in a #1 contendership for the world title, but the guy that was in a #1 contendership for the U.S. title was the main event, which still leads me to believe that Raw could get Brock Lesnar's title still, and Bray Wyatt's title, and it could leave U.S. as the main title. I hate to say it, but I think it possibly could happen. And the reason I wanted Brock Lesnar on SmackDown in the first place was it allowed more time to shine. The tag team titles, the women's championship, and the United States championship, instead of like they have been in the last year, where if all the other titles or the other matches got some featured time, the tag team titles kind of got left in the dark. So the match itself was very good. I enjoyed it. In the end, Jinder Mahal won. And again, this is fine for me. I think it makes sense. You don't hinder Jinder. Jinder, if he was the same old Jinder he was in 3MB, I would agree with it. But Jinder Mahal came out more muscular. He's just jacked. Whether he's on something or he's not, it doesn't really matter. And the fact that the Bollywood boys helped him out is good. Like, Bollywood boys were on the cruiserweight division, and now they're showing up on SmackDown. It's a perfect fit, SmackDown. And WWE in general is a huge market in India, so the fact that they're involved, I'm perfectly fine with. Randy Orton would come out and interrupt him afterwards. That's the only thing you have waiting for you. I was hoping it'd be like, yeah, you're number one contender, but it wasn't for my title. And then Brock was going to come out. I was hoping to God that would happen. But instead, Bray Wyatt dropped a promo about their match. And it looks like the House of Horrors match is no longer for the title, even though CBS Sports, ESPN, and a bunch of other websites had said it was. And even WWE.com, I think, at one point is. So if it's not for the title, it definitely makes sense. They had a promo for Shinsuke Nakamura tonight, which, like I said, you can sparingly use Nakamura. You don't have to put Nakamura on every night. You don't have to give him matches every single night. That's just my personal opinion. Backstage, they were talking about who Renee Young was interviewing AJ Styles. Who would you rather face for the number one contendership? It would be Chris Jericho or Y2J. And Baron Corbin interrupted, and they had a match later on in the night. So, again, that was perfectly fine because Baron Corbin, by association, is getting put in a lot of matches with guys like AJ Styles, John Cena, among others. So it's help elevating Baron Corbin's stock the same way it is kind of Braun Strowman's stock over on Raw. Then we had a title match between Charlotte and Naomi, or not a title match, to face for a title match next week. And in fact, near the end of the match, the four-time former WWE Raw Women's Champion would, in fact, win when she would go for the last few, like, put her butt in her face, and Charlotte kicked her in the back, which would allow Charlotte to hit the natural selection. She would get the 1, 2, 3 for the pin, and that was all she wrote. Charlotte would become victorious. So we're going to get Charlotte versus Naomi next week. So it'll be interesting to see if the plan comes into effect between Carmella, Natalya, and Tamina Snuka, whether or not they're going to get involved, because it definitely would make sense. Then we had the Shining Stars versus American Alpha, and they repeatedly said Primo and Epico Cologne. They kind of really downplayed the Shining Stars. Besides on their actual attires, it was Primo and Epico, which I still think Carlito might get involved in some point. I've been saying that since 2015, 2016, and they have yet to have Carlito. But I think it would make the most sense. I think I was the most disappointed with the fact that they weren't wrestling in jeans. Like, I was really excited when they came out in jeans and kind of a different look last week. And then for them to go kind of back to the same look, I was a little disappointed with. That's just me personally. I have no problem with them beating American Alpha, because American Alpha kind of worked their way up, got a title shot, eventually won, didn't really do anything, lost the titles to the Usos, and now they're kind of reeling. So as the chasing champions, the guys that are chasing the championships from before, they have to go over some obstacles to eventually get back up there, hopefully for maybe around SummerSlam time, maybe sometime around there, to work their way back up would make the most sense, in my personal opinion. Then we had the Face of America, the Open Challenge, Kevin Owens. I was tweeting out, what do you guys think speculation-wise? Who's it going to be? And it ended up being Gary Gandy, which was a local Louisville, Kentucky wrestler. KO would fully squash him in about a minute or so with a pop-up powerbomb. I have to say, the way he kind of jumped up for the pop-up powerbomb, I was a little worried. But in the end, Kevin Owens won. It didn't matter. Then came time for the main event between AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. Or AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin, with Kevin Owens sitting ringside. And the match itself was actually pretty good. Baron Corbin puts on a good show. The fact that Baron Corbin really starts to speak a little bit more during the matches, he's getting more vocal, is one of my favorite things about him. When he faced double Austin Aries in NXT, the more he ripped into the crowd, the more he got more active, the more he got more vocal and really got into the crowd, is when he really stood out and made a difference to me, at least personally. So the fact that he, let me pause this just to get Jinder Mahal back up on the screen, because you don't hinder Jinder. And Charter apparently is trying to hinder Jinder. The fact that, AJ Styles and Baron Corbin are in the ring together, the fact that Baron Corbin isn't even necessarily winning, but he's getting elevated, people are cheering for him more, is a huge deal, at least in my humble opinion. So it's the case of he doesn't necessarily have to win, but the fact that he's, facing these guys of this caliber, putting on good matches, it's helped elevating him, at least in my opinion. I don't consider him a jobber whatsoever. Like some people consider Jinder Mahal a jobber, which I really don't understand. I will say this. If Jinder Mahal were to actually win the title, then I could see a problem. But right now, as it sits, which I wouldn't have a problem if he wins the title, but as of right this second, I don't see Jinder Mahal winning. So right now, AJ Styles is the number one contender for KO's title. So if they do lose both titles, AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens for the championship, the champ that runs the camp, the face that runs the place, the face of America, I don't think it's really the worst thing in the world. But I also, part of me really wants Chris Jericho on SmackDown, so I'm kind of torn. This whole episode of SmackDown Live was good in a lot of points. It was dead in some parts. But for the most part, Raw and SmackDown had solid shows this week. So I want to know your guys' thoughts and opinions on SmackDown Live tonight. Were you a fan of it? Did you not like it? Did you think they could have done something better? Are you still pissed about the fact that Jinder Mahal is the #1 contender, even though that if one of those other guys had won, they were probably going to lose anyway, or of the fact that it is for the title and they aren't facing for the title anyway, the land of opportunity led to nothing? That's what my kind of hope was, where if Brock wasn't getting brought over and Bray Wyatt was facing for the title and won it, they're like, I'm a #1 contender for what? I didn't win. What kind of show is this? The land of opportunity? We have no titles. And then guys start forming random tag teams or trying to beat Kevin Owens down as this is like punishment for KO. So I'd love to know what you guys thought about SmackDown Live tonight. Like I said, it's not going to be a super long video. I just wanted to get through this. And to be honest with you, I actually did enjoy it tonight. I didn't make a review of Braun Strowman destroying the ring last night, but it was absolutely phenomenal. Braun, I love you for that. It was crazy. It was Braun breaking the ring. Tonight, I didn't live up to it as much because, Braun broke the freaking ring last night. But SmackDown Live with a pretty solid show for the most part. I could see why some people are upset at the fact that Jinder Mahal won. But at the end of the day, I don't think it matters. And the fact that he actually had help winning makes a difference versus if he was just jobbing out constantly and he won by himself. So those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And like I said, if you check out my second channel, I'm working on making a bunch of new walkthroughs from old WWE video games over there. They're going to start posting this week. And on my channel, I have a bunch of videos that have been rolling out from WWE SVR 2009, 11, 12, and a bunch of other games that are going to be coming out. But until next time, it's your boy, Tubby. Well, thank you very much for watching. And we'll see you all when you don't stop hindering Jinder. The world is endless. Please don't hinder Jinder. Until next time, it's your boy, W. We will see you all